Okay, our second game is going to be Bisu versus Soulkey on Gladiator. As I said, this is probably going to be a bit of... we're probably going to see another Protoss win here, because after all, it is Bisu. It's also Gladiator, a little bit more favorable towards Protoss armies, being able to spread out, being able to abuse the high ground advantage versus Lings, etc., etc. So lots of cool stuff that you can do here as a Protoss player. And we'll see if Bisu can pull it forward. We just saw that Best annihilated Soulkey. Despite Soulkey's really good positional play, he was just never able to secure a fifth base, and that seemed to be like the turning point for everything. Maybe Bisu will try the same sort of strategy, or maybe he'll go into that more of that style that Rain is using right now, which is a lot of drop play combined with mid-map army pressure. Lots of really cool stuff that you can see coming out of that, and that seems like something that would be pretty good for Bisu. Bisu also having the ability to control his Reavers at the same, his Corsairs at the same time, which makes that sort of play even stronger. It allows you to just continually move around the map and do all kinds of stuff. Looks like Bisu's going to be going for that gate first. I take it back, it is going to be a forge first. Looks like he's just kind of mapping out that wall, making sure everything's good. He's got with the probe on 9, it's usually almost always a forge fast expand. You don't go for a gate expand with that early of a scout, because if your opponent 6-pulls you or whatever, then the early zealot should actually be enough to help you out. As long as you pull probes and save the pylon, you should be in good shape. But Bisu getting the nice block over here. He's going to be able to deny this scouting for a little bit. It looks like he's actually just going to trade with this drone. He knows that he got the first... Whoa! He got a kill with that probe. Bisu probe. I mean, I shouldn't even be surprised, but dang. Bisu's probes are so freaking scary. The scariest probes on Earth. Gonna be able to kill off that drone, and that's gonna be a bit annoying for Soulkey. Soulkey's gonna have a little less economy than he would like to. Soulkey even made 4 Lings as opposed to just the 2. And Bisu's actually playing ultra safe. He's actually gonna go 2 cannons. Oh, sorry, I take that back. Bisu made a lot of Lings, so 2 cannons is very smart. You want to go for the 2 cannons before the gateway if your opponent makes this many Lings. It just allows you to go ahead and hold off this pressure. If it's 6 Lings versus 1 cannon, not really difficult to hold off. Or sorry, it's not really difficult for the Lings to just run in, snipe the cannon, and start getting into the main base, because the 1 cannon won't be able to kill it in time. But 2 cannons are here, so that is going to deny this for a bit. Potentially Soulkey could have run around behind the mineral lines and started dancing over there, but he would have lost a lot of Lings to that, maybe only gotten 2 or 3 behind there. And there's no guarantee that they would have survived all that well. Even just a small probe block on the ramp could have caused a lot of problems. So overall, this is a bunch of small advantages for Bisu. Bisu doing a really good job with his pro micro, still being annoying, and just forcing Soulkey to micro. It's really a treat to actually be able to see the first-person view of Bisu. Bisu is such a fantastic player, and his EAPM is really, really good. He has like an EAPM of something like 230, which is really, really, really high, especially for a Protoss player. I don't think any other Protoss player has an EAPM as high as Bisu, but it just shows, you'll be able to see, especially as we go into the later portions of the game, his extreme ability to multitask and do different things on other sides of the map. It's really beautiful to actually watch. So this probe has finally been driven out by these Lings. Bisu's going to be trying to look a little bit for a third base, trying to find out where Soulkey took it. He's going to run this probe out actually pretty safely, just trying to make sure he gets it back to his base, but unfortunately was not able to. Another probe did get sent out though, so Bisu isn't totally in the dark. This is something that you can definitely learn from watching pro play. If you go ahead and send out, actually I take that back, it was a Zealot. If you go ahead and send out either a Zealot or another probe, while you're close to losing your first probe, you're in a lot better shape going into the mid game because you can scout better. You generally prevent your second probe or your second zealot from being scouted unless you're playing against Soulkey, who is just a boss at figuring out where things are. Or Shine. Shine is a god at that sort of thing as well. So these 4 lanes going to be able to clean up the zealot. No more scouting coming in for Bisu, but he has the Corsairs on the way. He's going for that +1 air attack and very fast Templar Archive, so we're definitely going to be seeing the patented Corsair DT coming out from Bisu. Another zealot coming in here, gonna try to get some harassment in, but beautiful surround. These 3 lings were still surrounding it. Oh my gosh. RNG for the win. If that zealot attacked literally any other ling, he probably would have made it out alive. Or at least gotten a lot more damage in being able to kite back. Unfortunately, gonna be thwarted for now. First Corsair is out, gonna start scouting out, see what's going on. And meanwhile, this one zealot just gonna continue to be annoying. He's gonna hide himself behind a mineral line for now. And just kind of chill out over there. Not much that Soulkey can do about that as of right now. So he's just gonna pull back for right now. Meanwhile, Soulkey is going for those 5 hatches. He's got his early Hydra Din out. Instead of going for the fast lair, fast fire, he actually decided to just get the Hydra Din out, start getting his Hydra upgrades early, which makes a lot of sense considering that Soulkey is typically the type of player who enjoys going for very heavy mid games. He likes having lots of upgraded Hydras to control the center of the map. He likes getting fast lurkers. And it just allows him to set up his late game so much better. He's a very good late game player as far as getting that positioning up, having the Lurker Defiler blockades that prevent the Protoss from actually moving out across the map. So it makes a lot of sense for Soulkey to go for that heavy pressure early on. So we do have the first DT out. Gonna start looking for some sort of damage somewhere. The Corsair control has to be perfect though. Make sure he doesn't get picked off by units for free. The DT getting stuck on all of these units and does get picked off before the Overlord can go down. So a bit of a mistake there from Bisu. Not going to get as much damage as he would like. He still did manage to snipe off the Overlord. So the potential for a return back over here with that DT could be realistic, but he's got to be very, very careful about how he does this. He's waiting for Soulkey to move out and make some sort of mistake in the positioning with his Overlords, but so far Soulkey has been absolutely perfect with how he's moving his units around, with how he's positioning his Hydras, and it's difficult for Bisu to get any realistic damage. Another DT getting stuck on those units might go down. I think it went down, so unfortunate for Bisu, losing everything. He's lost his first 2 DTs. The Corsair DT did not pay off at all, and now he's playing a little bit from behind because those could have been High Templar. He could have had a much beefier ground army. It's going to take a while before he's able to break off of these 2 bases. He's got 6 gateways pumping units though, with lots of DTs, or sorry, lots of High Templars coming out right now. While Soulkey taking that 4th base, getting that really powerful ground army as well, so it's looking pretty nice for Soulkey at this point in time. We're just waiting for him to start adding on all those lurkers, start getting the big powerful defense out on the map. It's going to be taking this forward. 4th base as well down here on the low ground. It is somewhat in a dangerous spot, but because of these ridges, as long as you have the lurkers, you can do pretty well at keeping them alive, making sure that you're paying attention to what's going on around the map. That one Overlord that was scouting for Soulkey is going to get picked off by the Corsairs. He's just always doing a fantastic job of keeping his Corsairs moving, keeping a good eye on what's going on out around the map. He's going to go ahead and take this 3rd down in the low ground. He's got lots of High Templars, lots of Storms and Zealots, so he's going to be feeling comfortable. And he knows that there's no potential for lurkers quite yet, so he's been a little bit lax on getting the Dragoons up, getting the Observers up. He's going to be starting to add those on very shortly, and that's going to allow him to go into the mid-late game pretty comfortably now that he's got the base of a lot of ground army and a lot of Storms. +2 on the way for Bisu as well, so he's going to have pretty beefy, tanky, strong Zealots as well. Could allow him to just wreck the Lings before they get the full upgrades. Meanwhile, on Soulkey's side of the map, looks like he's starting to get really aggressive, and oh my gosh, he actually goes for the Mutalisk switch, so gonna try to snipe off all the High Templar and go for a big timing attack, but big storms on top of those Hydras. So many of those Hydras weaker now, not very strong at all, gonna be easy to pick them off later on. And I mean, honestly, this is nice picking off the High Templar, but I mean, he's losing a lot of... He really doesn't have a lot of Hydras in return. Bisu right now is going to be retreating, but as long as he can hold this base for a decent amount of time... Good storms! Oh my god! Killing off the Scourge and a lot of those Mutalisks, damaging them down into the red. Nothing that Soulkey can actually do right now to actually break this fourth base, and Bisu is playing this immaculately. That one storm really saving him, being his one saving grace, allowing him to go ahead and come back into this game. He's adding on more Dragoons right now, gonna have a few more Templar for Storms as well. Actually adding on a few more Corsairs, maybe a little bit nervous about the potential of big Mutalisk play or more Mutalisk coming in from Soulkey, and that is what we actually see. So Soulkey is going hard in the paint with all of these Mutalisks, really looking forward to actually killing off these Templar and potentially going for a big ground army snipe on top of all of Bisu's units. But I don't think he's actually going to get it, because Bisu's already got this fourth base up and running. He's getting his fourth gas now, and with the extra gateways that Bisu's going to be adding on very shortly, the gateway explosion that's going to come out, it's going to start getting really scary for Soulkey. Soulkey's going to have a lot of issues. Sorry, I guess that was only the third base. I guess he canceled that low ground third base, realizing that he might be in danger of that Hydra attack. Either way, he's going to be having up to 4 bases very, very shortly, and that is going to spell disaster for Soulkey if he invests too much into these meals and doesn't get enough done in the mid-game. He's got a lot of Overlords out now, though. It looks like he might actually be preparing for an Overlord drop, maybe on the opposite side of the map as some sort of pressure. Or it could just be that they're gathered there to keep them safe. Hard to really tell at this point in the game. It all just depends on what Soulkey does in the next couple of minutes. Corsair's going to come over here, snipe an Overlord for free. And Soulkey's got to be careful with all these units. Bisu losing a few Corsairs, but the Corsair count is honestly so high still that he can just go ahead and take on all of these Mutalisks if he's... if there aren't a whole bunch of Hydras underneath it. Unfortunately loses a lot of those Corsairs, and uncharacteristic mistake from Bisu. However, he does greatly weaken all of these Mutalisks. They're going to be really easy to clean up going forward, but the snipes are really good from Soulkey. He actually managed to snipe almost every single Templar. There aren't really a lot of Templar left, and as long as Soulkey can continue to macro, continue to send more and more Lings out across the map, he's going to be in good shape. Mass Ling versus Dragoon definitely goes in the favor of the Ling player. Going to be pushing back right now, going to be pushing all of these Dragoons back, but the Storms are looking pretty nice right now. Going to be able to kill off a decent chunk of these Lings, but it is just Zerg units pouring out across the map. So much Zerg right now, and even with the best micro in the world, Bisu is not able to actually salvage this entire army. He's going to have to pull back for right now. That has been an attack that has been pushed back by Soulkey. Bisu now in a bit of trouble because he traded a lot of army supply for that. Soulkey is down as well, but now being able to add on all of those lurkers, now being able to just pump pure Ling off of 4 bases, it is looking really fantastic for our Zerg player. It really just comes down to, what is Bisu going to do next? Is he going to go for another blitz attack with just lots of Zealot Archon reinforcements? Or is he going to go for the big macro game? And it looks like he's actually going to be going for the big macro game. He just added on that robotics support base, so he's going to be going into Reaver. He's going to start looking for a 5th expansion while denying the 5th base of the Zerg as well. Something we saw in our last game versus Best as well, is Best was very intent on just denying the 5th base for as long as possible. Saying, you know what, it's okay that you have 4 bases. Our armies are about even. They're both pretty dang strong, but I'm just going to continue to expand, and you're not going to take a 4th base ever. That's definitely what we're going to be seeing coming out from Bisu as well, just trying to prevent his opponent from getting the easy bases out on the map, but he needs to get some vision over there down onto the bottom left-hand side of the map. Not paying attention, though, is going to lose a lot of those zealots for free. Just paying attention to elsewhere on the map, and actually ends up losing that one pro over there that was trying to build an expansion. Gonna get scouted out by Soulkey pretty immediately, and these Lings being so cost-effective right now, just doing so much damage. As long as they can focus fire the right things and get on top of the units, killing off another probe, so that base is delayed yet again for Bisu. You can tell Bisu is getting a little bit agitated, a little bit upset about this. And now going to be swinging down to the bottom side of the map, looking for another engagement, but leading off lots of zealots yet again. So far, this is kind of a theme that we've seen, is losing a lot of zealots for free. And although zealots are pretty cheap, you can't just be trading them for free versus absolutely nothing, because it will always end badly for you. Does manage to kill off a morphing lurker, so that is a small win for him, but I don't think he's scouted out this bottom base quite yet. He's gonna need to get down there and start denying that, or else that is gonna cause all kinds of problems for him later on in the game. However, there's already some lurkers up there, and once the fires get out, it's gonna be so hard to actually break that base. Get up there with no dropships out on the map. I take that back. With one shuttle out on the map, there really isn't a lot of drop pressure for Bisu, and it looks like he might actually lose. I take that back. He does manage to keep his observer alive, so he's going to be able to break up into this base. He's got an observer coming up now. Going to be able to slowly push that forward while taking his base up there in the top right-hand corner, but this has been really cost inefficient for Bisu. Bisu's had to give up a lot in order to do this. His army is dwindling in comparison to the Zerg army, which is now moving out as well. It looks like he's just going to try to gung-ho run past all these units, hope for the best, and is going to actually make it past all the lurkers. Very nicely done. With these zealots on top of the ramp, Bisu's going to be able to hold that base for basically forever. Great Storm's going to be able to kill off a lot of those units for free, and with more zealots coming over here, he might be able to clean this up. Very nicely done. However, all these zealots are now in danger of dying to those lurkers. No detection over here quite yet. Trying to buy enough time for these cannons. Is going to be able to get right on top of these lurkers, but the zealots are already so low that I don't think it matters. Perhaps now with the cannons he can survive, but he's wasted a lot of zealots for all of this. He's really spent a lot of money into zealots over the last couple of minutes and lost them to Lings, to lurkers, very cost inefficiently. Now going to be moving up here, trying to save this base. He did have to go ahead and abandon the pressure on the bottom side of the map, but these units just doing so much damage to Bisu's army. So many Dragoons go down for free, and this is where it starts to get really scary. Once the Dragoon count starts getting really, really low, you know that's when the Protoss player is in a lot of trouble. He's just going to try to hold the high ground for right now, but with this Defiler, it's going to be so much harder to hold. The Swarm is going to start coming down. These cannons, the Dragoons, do absolutely nothing. And once these once these lurkers start getting onto the high ground, it can definitely be a very difficult thing to actually break. More and more reinforcements flooding across the map from Soulkey. Soulkey taking that 3 o'clock base as well for himself, just going along with the line of aggression. Very different from the way that we normally see Zerg work, where you always expand to the opposite side of the map and abuse your hypermobile units. In this particular case, it is going to be all about just continuing to go along the line of aggression. He is, however, also taking that base down on the bottom left, so he is just going to kind of take the entire map. Now that he has Bisu in a vice grip, he has him in a chokehold, he's just going to continue to put on lots and lots of pressure. Storms with a little bit only kill off 2 Lings, not really enough to be substantial. A couple of DTs starting to be added into the mix here for Bisu as well, but he's lost a lot of map control that he had. He did manage to get that base up, but he wasn't able to deny the Zerg 5th base from going down, and now the lanes are just going to be a terror for him to deal with. Going to have to slowly build back up his army, make sure that he has plenty of defenses in all the right places. He has one DT going down here, gonna start getting some drone kills down in the bottom left-hand corner, sorry, the 3 o'clock base. So that is really nice from him. Also dropping off a few zealots, making sure that he has a lot to deal with that. Great Templar Snipes over here by Soulkey, managed to pick off 2 for free, but this looks like it is going to be a net win for Bisu. Just holding on, being very, very patient and cost efficient in this army movement. Going to be able to pick off that 3 o'clock base. And now he's kind of even the game back up again because it is 5 bases versus 5 bases. He's finally starting to get up towards that scary army. And Soulkey doesn't really have an answer to his opponent. He lost a lot of that blockade that he had up there in the top right by being a little bit too aggressive. And now he doesn't really have a way to take any more bases. He's just going to have to try to regroup down here on the bottom side of the map, start taking all these bases. But when you start getting even on bases to the Protoss in a split map situation, you're in a pretty dangerous spot because eventually Protoss will be able to trade better with you, especially on a big open map like Gladiator. It's so much harder to actually trade well, but does continue to find all of these Templar snipes. Going to be able to snipe yet another Templar. Drop coming in right here, but the Scourge already snipes off that shuttle immediately. These units trying to come down here and do a little bit of damage to this 3rd base, but there's a lot of Zerg here. Is it enough, though? Doesn't seem like it is quite enough to actually break through for Bisu, so Bisu is going to get pushed back for now. This was a pretty valiant attempt, but he threw away a pretty big army for that. He's remaking his army now, but that might have been a bit of over-aggression from him. Gonna have to wait a while before he gets all those big gas units up yet again. He lost a lot of Templar, he lost a lot of Archons in that engagement, and honestly, it's looking pretty good for Soulkey, despite the fact that he's 40 supply down. As long as he can continue to hold the line and continue to expand, he'll be in good shape, but it all comes down to how much Bisu keeps up the aggression. If Bisu keeps up the aggression and keeps trading like this and staying 40 supply ahead, then he'll be fine because every time it'll be, you know, 160 to 120. And the next time it'll be 140 versus 100. Then the next time it'll be 120 versus 80, etc., etc. And slowly Soulkey will starve out. But right now, this has just been beautiful play by Bisu. Gonna be coming in yet again. Gonna try to snipe off this Defiler, but Defilers, they can wiggle pretty fast, man. Yeah, I said that. They can wiggle pretty fast. They can run away. It's hard to actually catch them. Bisu's going to be targeting the bottom left-hand side of the map yet again, but all of these Zealots have been plagued. They're all very, very weak in comparison, and without the big storms, it's going to be really hard to actually kill off all of these Lings. He's managed to get a couple of really good Reaver shots, but a lot of the Zealot count has been willed away right now, and there's not really a lot left for Bisu's army. Trying to add on a couple more Zealots, try to get this army going, but the entire army is just red with that plague. They're all slowly dying a deadly, deadly disease. And it just hasn't been the best game for Bisu. He hasn't been able to completely control the map like he's wanted to. A DT drop does come into the space over here. Gonna be able to deny the Nidus up here in the top left-hand corner. And meanwhile, there is a small contingent of cannons going down here. Small cannon farm. Gonna be able to keep this alive for now. He's got one Templar there as well, so if the big Ling swarm comes, he can keep it alive. But this is going to be a very tough defense. I take that back. Here are two Reavers in a dropship, so in a shuttle rather. So defending it for now, adding on more cannons. That may be what he needs to get back into this game. Great storms going down on top of all of those drones. All of the drones die off in Soulkey's base over there. He is actually starting to bleed out pretty heavily right now. Gonna try to get on top of these Reavers and kill them off. Does manage to kill off the shuttle as well, and this may be the dedicated attack he needs to get back into this game. He's going to be able to kill off both the Reavers, all the cannons, and deny the spacer now. Not much that Bisu can do about it at this point in time, but he's going to try to go for another Hail Mary drop. Going to try to get storms on top of all of these units. Doesn't kill off many of the Hydras or the drones, but does keep Soulkey continue. Soulkey is continuing to be pushed back into his own base. This game is going into a very long, epic late game. This could come all the way down to the wire. We could actually see both players getting down to 100, below 100 supply, trying to attack each other, all kinds of crazy stuff like that. Very nice to round on that Defiler. Bisu is looking for the bases up in the top left-hand corner, but Soulkey is not going to let him continue to just send units out across the map. This one Templar, normally you'd want to snipe that Templar off, but in this particular case, Soulkey is just gutting it for that expansion. He absolutely wants to take care of that. And Bisu not engaging very cost efficiently, slowly dropping units over here. The first storm, not all that great, but does manage to kill off at least a few of those drones. Somehow the shuttle actually does manage to get out alive as well, so kudos to Bisu for that. He is going to be taking the space off the top left-hand corner. If he can actually secure this, this might be the big turning point that he needs to get back into this game, but at this point, the game could go either way. Another great storm drop, going to be able to kill off all the drones in that base, and that is painful for Soulkey, who is already a little bit below in economy, is going to be struggling even more, and this looks like a desperation attempt to go ahead and break this base before it gets up. So far, it's going well for him, though. Bisu is fighting back tooth and nail to try to keep this expansion up, but it's not going to happen. Soulkey doing everything in his power to keep the top left-hand base, sorry, the top right-hand base from going over there to Bisu. He's got lots of lurkers still. The high gas units, the big gas units for Soulkey are still up en masse, so he's not in a bad shape at all. He just needs to continue to hold on for as long as possible, continue to remacro all these things, and take cost-efficient trades. So far, doing a fantastic job of it. Bisu amassing all of his units down here. It looks like Bisu might try to go for a break, but honestly, he doesn't have to at this point. All he has to do is sit back, relax, and look for another base on the map. He may try to just take this 9 o'clock base instead, but this is a bit of a difficult situation for a Protoss player right now. The longer this game goes, the more difficult it's going to be for both of these players. But great storms on top of all of those lurkers, going to kill off a lot of lurkers for free. Soulkey still does have a ton of lurkers up in the top left-hand corner. He's going to have to see control of that top right expansion for right now. And Bisu's just going to gun it down here for the space. He's been able to kill off a lot of these units very nicely, very cost efficiently, but the egg block on the ramp for Soulkey is just so strong right now. All of these lurkers going to be coming in for the surround, but all of them just dying to the splash damage. Oh my gosh, Soulkey is dropping in supply. He's now under 100. That may have been the end of the game for him. He does get these lurkers onto the high ground, but there's still a few more storms left. Is this going to be enough? Looks like Soulkey may have finally saved this base, but he lost a lot of heavy gas units in that exchange. Is it enough? This game is coming down to the absolute wire. But Bisu with the remacro up now to 140 supply. He is looking so strong right now. Even though these engagements haven't gone all that well for him, he's continued to find ways into the Zerg base, find ways to pick off all of the high gas units of the Zerg player instead of just trading for Ling Scourge. And that has really been the biggest difference between these games and some of the other PvZs that we've seen recently. Bisu again regrouping. Looks like he wants to go down to the bottom side of this map. So one Scourge just being a pain, but not going to be able to snipe the shuttle. The shuttle is going to get away for right now. Bisu doing a fantastic job of keeping the shuttle alive for as long as possible. Unfortunately, he is going to lose an Archon over there. That's a bit unfortunate. This is about the time that you want to be adding on maybe a few more Dark Templar to your army, just to make it a little bit easier to kill things off. However, it just hasn't been quite enough time for Bisu to really do that. Does manage to kill off another lurker, but more Scourge continually coming in, gonna try to snipe off these observers. Bisu doing a really good job of pulling back the observers every time, though. He's gonna continue to macro, and Soulkey is slowly pushing back into this. He is losing a lot of lurkers, but he is continuing to trade very cost efficiently with these Lings, continuing to do a fantastic job of breaking down his opponent's army. This is tooth and nail, fire with fire. Great storm drop. Is it going to get a lot of drones? Doesn't look like it. Wasn't able to actually kill them off. So another good storm, but actually ends up landing on most of his units. Going to allow him to finally start pushing into the space. The drones are trying to split desperately, look for some sort of safe haven, but that is going to be the last mining base of Soulkey going down. Bisu managing to finally break it with these units. Is it going to be enough, though? Oh my gosh, did Soulkey hold on yet again? Oh my god. This game is insane. Gonna be pulling all of his remaining drones that were in gas all the way up to that top right expansion. Trying to look for some sort of way to get back into this game. This game is going absolutely down the wire. It's just gonna be pure Zealot Archon for our Zealot Archon Templar for our Protoss player. Trying to get some damage done with these storm drops while moving out across the map, but at this point Lings are so efficient versus the Protoss army. If they can get those good surrounds, it's very easy to kill off all of these units. However, if Bisu stays deathballed up, he might do pretty well. We'll have to see what the plan is. Still plenty of gas for Soulkey, so he's not going to be in danger of running out of gas anytime soon. He can still continue to make those high gas units like the Defilers, like the Lurkers, like the Scourge, and he'll be okay. In this particular case, though, Bisu is trying to get the storm drop off. The storm's not quite landing the way that he would like, but they have delayed the mining for a bit. So this may be a chance for Bisu to start pushing back. He's going to try to come in here. Great storms on top of those Hydras, going to be able to push them back for a bit, but the Lings are just trading so well. It's insane how well they're trading. And as long as Bisu doesn't lose the rest of his Zealots over here, he might be able to break through. Does lose the Observer, which could be a problem. And there's the GG. Bisu barely just piling through and killing Soulkey.